Contemplations before chanting. The Sangha is invited to come back to our breathing so that our collective energy of mindfulness will bring us together as an organism, going as a river with no more separation. Let the whole Sangha breathe as one body, chant as one body, listen as one body, and transcend the boundaries of a delusive self, liberating from the superiority complex, the inferiority complex, and the equality complex.
Good morning, dear Sangha. Today, July 5th, the year 2020. We are in New Hamlet, in our day of mindfulness. We will begin our day of mindfulness with 3 sounds of the bell. Dear Sangha worldwide, we receive a lot of concern and care about our monastic Sangha in Plum Village. Many lay Sangha members ask how we are doing in Plum Village. So today our sisters of New Hamlet offer the Sangha worldwide a chant, so that you can see the monastic Sangha, because such a long time you don't see the monastics, because we are still practicing social distance. Even though we come up and chant, but we still have to keep the distance. And as you see, you don't see the brothers, because we are still practicing in our own hamlet and not gather together, so that we can follow the regulation of the government. As you listen to the chant and see the faces of the sisters, you can really tell that we are wealthy. We are healthy. Indeed, we are wealthy. We're spiritual wealthy, as you can see, right? Abundant, wealthy, energy. As I stand and listen to them and see them, I feel very proud of our sisters. They are very bright, full of energy. So we receive a lot of spiritual, financial, and economical supports from many of you. And we are very, very grateful to receive all of these supports, so that we can sustain and continue our practice as a Sangha. And as you see, we are very ready to welcome you all back when the conditions are sufficient. During the pandemic, we have the opportunities for the young Dharma teachers to practice sharing the Dharma. Every other week, we call it a home hamlet, and then the young Dharma teachers, they practice sharing the Dharma. And There's a lot of potential. There's a lot of potential in them. And the more I listen to them, the more I realize I could be out of job very soon. Which is a very, very good thing. It's a very bright future of the Dharma, Buddha Dharma. If you have a chance to visit New Hamlet, we will see there's trees behind this meditation hall. We have many trees. What is special about these trees behind this meditation hall? They are very special because they are very deformed. They are not normal, because the wind really bends them in different shapes, and they're very curving and very bending. Only one or two trees can remain the normal shape. The rest of them are very bending. And when we look at trees, we look at them, we can really see how much they suffer because of the wind that forces them to grow in that very abnormal shape. But somehow they still survive and grow to the best of its capacity and still bear fruits and offer us shade and fruits. But if we look into a forest, we will see very different things. In the forest, trees standing together. So when the storm comes, we will see something that is very, very, very moving to. The first gust of winds blows. Imagine this is a forest. So they all swing to one side at the same time, at the same direction. And some of the trees swing back on its own, speed, while others still bending, and others already swing back. And then by the time it swing forward, the other trees swing back. So they gently touch each other, and somehow they slowly help each other to slow down until the next gust of wind blows again, and they all bend again, and the struggle begins again. So when they stand together, they really support one another, and by pushing into one another so that they can go back to their standing position and not bending so much. Trees, when they bend like this, and the next gusts of wind blow again, and because if it's so bending, it could be uprooted and it can fall down. But all the rest of the tree, it will be helping each other to stand back up again. And so that's how they survive and they go through the storms. And as we know, the forests, when they grow together, they generate something the scientists call the consistent local climate, in which they generate all kinds of extremes, like the cold or the heat. And the forests can store a great deal of water and generate a great deal of humidity, so that all the trees can benefit from it. And they discover that trees, when they grow together in the forest, they can grow until old age. But trees planted in the planted forest, somehow the roots cannot connect it to one another. And they grow as an individual. And anyway, they are not allowed to grow until old age anyway, because they will harvest these trees for lumbers, for paper, or whatever purposes that they need. So when an intact forest, when it's not be disturbed by anybody, they can all grow together and support one another. So when we look at our monastic Sangha, because of this pandemic, we have something that is extraordinary, that very, very, very much favorable for our practice, which is the consistency, the regularity, and the stability that really sustain the whole Sangha. At the beginning, some of us have some kind of fear and anxiety because we really, really worry about our family, people we know, Sangha members, and we cannot come together to practice. We have to stay where we are, and we are not allowed to go outside. So we have to practice to generate the collective energy. And because of this collective energy that can sustain and support all of us, and the regularity of the schedule that allows everybody to be stable and to be steady in our practice. Every morning we have walking meditation, we have classes, we have lunch, and in the afternoon we work. For many months we do not go outside. But we really, really find that we are not lacking anything. We are all very we are very supported and very embraced and very protected by many, many good conditions. Even the birds, they find that the energy and the landscape here is very safe for them to build a nest and to bring up their offsprings. Because the Sangha practice the noble silence. In that silence, it's very serene, very peaceful. Even the birds can feel that energy. They feel that they are not disturbed. And that's how they settle down. They build a nest and they raise their children. So the practice of noble silence is a practice that's very healing for all of us. Because of the silence, we can really, really find that there is a deep place inside of us that we can always go back and dwell in that place and feel very safe and very protected. And together we generate this serene and peaceful energy for everybody. Even though at the beginning we are very agitated, very anxious, but because we generate this noble silence energy, and it can help all of us to find that peace within, and we can settle down and know that we will have nowhere to go except dwelling in this place and practice and generate this collective energy. Because we are aware that people are suffering a lot out there. So every sitting, we generate our energy. We send to people who are suffering, who are going through a lot of difficulties and lost, so that they can feel, they can receive the energy of the Sangha. Very often we say, when we have difficulties, we will turn toward the Sangha and we will ask the Sangha to send us energy. So the Sangha is a group of people that come together and practice, and each individual will generate individual energy in order to contribute to the energy of the Sangha. So if we don't do our part, contributing our presence and our energy to the energies of the pool of energies of the Sangha, then that energy may not be very solid and may not be very powerful to send to the people. So each individual's energy count. It's just like every single tree in the forest. Because of many trees, that's how we call it a forest. And every single tree contributes its part to the balance of the forest. So when we ask the Sangha to support us, then we have to be very much aware that we have to contribute our energy to the collective energy of the Sangha. Every morning, the walking meditation, it looks like it's the same every day, you know. Sometimes the regularity can bring the boredom, because we feel that it's doing the same thing every day. But every day is very different. When we are mindful of our body and of our mind, we can really tell the difference of each day. That our mind is not the same, and our body is not the same either every day. It's very different. So every day is a fresh new day. Yeah. The nature offers its fullest. And we have to ask ourselves, do we fully receive it? And do we fully contribute it to the pool of the energy of the Sangha? Because without the solidity and the stability of the Sangha, it is very difficult for us to be stable and to be solid. So we have to contribute our part. It's just like when we look at our chant, and so on. When we have a chant like this, chant? Anyway, chant, look like chant. When we have a chant like this, you know, it is very strong because each weakest point link, and that's how it's become strong, right? So the same thing in the Sangha. If we are all connected, if we are generating the energy of mindfulness together, and we are connected to one another, and the energy can be very powerful. It's just like the chant the sisters offer. Because they are all connected. They chant with their heart, and they generate such a powerful energy because they are all connected. So the Sangha can only be strong if each individual feel connected to one another. During these last few months, we have many opportunities to share the Dharma online with many lay Sangha around the world. And many of the Sanghas, they are struggling with the pandemic, with the economy, with the family situation, with the sickness, with the death of their beloved one. But at the same time, they try their best to maintain the practice and come together online, not as a physical gathering, but they come together online to practice. And they encounter the joy, the happiness, when they can be together. But also they struggle because of different views, different ways of organizing the Sangha. And therefore, we receive quite many questions about how to deal with these issues. Maybe today I just address one question only, and I find that it's relevant pretty much for all kinds of Sangha. Monastic Sangha or lay Sangha. Many of one question is that because in the name of harmonious cooperation, we feel the pressure that we always have to agree, and we feel very suffocate, very stuffy, and very stiff. So how do we practice to cultivate harmony in ourselves and in the Sangha, so that everybody can have that feeling of be able to express themselves? So I find that this is not only happen in the lay Sangha, but it's happen everywhere. So I think it's good to look into this. In the monastic Sangha, we have the practice we call the 6 concord, the 6 harmonies. This can be applicable to the lay Sangha also. So today maybe we'll take a look in maybe just 2 or 3 practices of these 6. The one I want to focus on is harmonizing our view, our opinions. In a meeting, when we gather together, of course we have to organize our life together. We have to organize events, or we have to organize our practice. Even though we gather only once a month, and many lay Sangha we all gather only once a week or once a month, but you still have to discuss and organize yourself so that you can function. So that everybody can be benefited. I have a chance to guide and to lead some sanghas, and one sangha particularly asked, we come together, we do sitting, we do slow walking, we do Dharma sharing, sometimes we do total relaxation, but we still cannot get along with each other. That's what they ask. Of course, there's no absolute that everybody will get along well with everybody else. That is something that is very extraordinary. So we don't look into reach that level, but maybe we look into something, and that can help us to feel at ease, feel open up, and we'll feel to be listened to. So I asked, how do you practice? They said we come together and we have certain, forms to practice, and we follow everything, but we feel that there's certain issues that we cannot talk about, and we don't get along well with one another. So people come and go, except few core members, they stay. So one time we just have the core members sharing. And I said, well, since you don't have any new members, you don't have that pressure or the responsibility to share the Dharma, to share the practice with the newcomers. So maybe you just share among yourself. How is your doing? How is your families doing? So, because they very, very seldom talk about the background of each core members. So in that group, there's one man who seldom opened his mouth. He came very regularly, but he doesn't seem too willing to share a lot. And that particular day, he talked for 2 hours because a lot of suffering inside, and his own situation, and he doesn't have the people who listen to him for quite a long time. So when Sangha members, just pay attention to him and say, we would like to hear from you, and then he can pour out for 2 hours, to the surprise of everybody. But after that session, they learn something. They learn that sometimes the form can make them become very rigid, that they have to follow certain forms of the practice and not allow them to have that kind of space and time to listen to one another. So I share that we have to create the space, and so that everybody can share, everybody can open up and talk about themselves. Because when we come together, we don't really know each other that well, we don't understand each other that well. Just like we put the pieces together, but it's not fine, the link. So during the last few months, it's a monastic Sangha, we don't have retreat, people cannot come. And we use that time to strengthen our Sangha, to get to know each member of the Sangha. So the young Dharma teachers have a chance to share. The young novices and bhikkhunis, they also have their chance to share their life story with us, with the rest of us. So everybody have that chance to listen to, because we live with our sisters, but we don't know much about their family or their background. So when the conditions are sufficient, we have these conditions to listen to them. I personally have total new perspective for each one of them. Listening to them, their background, their family, their childhood, their family. I understand them better than before I listened to them. So we have to generate these conditions so that we can be heard, we can be listened to. And as you look at the monastic Sangha in the Plum village, and you really see this is a legacy of Thầy. This is what he invests his time, his energy into doing this. For me, what is the legacy of Thầy? I think the legacy of Thầy is the legacy for teachings on love and be a beloved teacher. I don't think he cares so much about being a renowned world teacher, Zen meditation teacher. But he cares so much about the Sangha. He cares so much about each member of the family, of the Sangha, that he invests his time, his energy, his love into each one member of the Sangha. Because he knows the Sangha is the backbone, is the foundation for him to take refuge in and to lean on. Because we know together we can do many, many, many things. Without the Sangha, Thầy would not be able to do many things, to bring the Dharma to everywhere. You know, one of the favorite president that I really like is President Obama. You know, he have two very young children, two girls. They was very young when he campaigned to run for the office. So of course he was so busy that he did not have time to look after them. So when he was elected into the White House, of course it's even busier than before because there's a lot of responsibility. And he thought if he did not find the time to be with them, he would never have time to be with them. And when they grow up, they leave home, when they go to college, he would not have a chance to be with them. So every day, dinner time is a family time. Doesn't matter how urgent or how important all the tasks that needs him. He will put everything aside and be there for his family. Because of the pressure of his work, it's so great that he needs his families as a cushion for him to feel support, to feel loved, to feel embraced, so that he can carry out his work. And if he did not invest his time and energy into his family, he would not have a loving family to support him, like his family did. And one of the funny things he said that, you know, out there, when every morning or every day I met the leader of all the countries, you know, big people, and, you know, you have the feeling that you are important. But at home, when you go back, but at night, when you go home, you know, your children look at you as a silly man. So it's helped him to de-stress and to release all kinds of sense of importance, self-importance, and just be a man and be a father to these two girls. And he said that this helped him so much to balance his work and his family, and not to, you know, to like tip the scale and focus all his time and energy into his work, and not enough time for his family. And he said something. He said, my legacy is to be a good father. So when my children grow up, they think of me as a father who spend time with them, be with them when they need me, go through their homework every night, rather than be the most powerful man in the world. You know? And he have this because of right thinking, you know, to invest into building a loving family. So from these two examples, we can really see that without a very healthy, wealthy Sangha, we won't have healthy individual. And in order to have a healthy Sangha, each one of us, we have to invest our time and energy into building the Sangha. So sometimes I ask myself what kind of legacy I want to have for myself. Tough cookies or sweet candy. I think I like both. But because of this time, very, very unusual, that we spend time together, most of the time, all the time together, into a very limited space. But I don't find any restriction. But in contrast, I find abundant love and joy being with the sisters. Each one of them is it's like something that I have to discover, as much as they want to discover me. Being with the young ones, it helps me a lot to loosen up my seriousness. You know, I can be very serious. So I remember in the past when a meeting, you know, I can be very serious. And, oh, it has to be like this. So after one of the meeting, one of the young sister, she said, she half joked and half telling me the truth. Say, you are very serious. You are very serious in the meeting. And I realized that, yes, without her telling me, I would not be able to recognize that. And I can be very tough. So I have to open up to certain extent, or to be flexible to some extent, that people feel that they can approach me, that they can tell me something about myself that I don't see in myself. So spending time with the Sangha members is very nourishing, actually. We can really see how they conduct themselves every day, how they express themselves, how they find ways to poke me. I find that it's very, very, very nourishing to see them grow every day. And as they grow, I grow also. So I don't have the feeling that, oh, I already far ahead of them. Now I have to wait for them to catch up with me. I don't have that feeling. But I have the feeling that together, we grow together. It's a really, really nice feeling. I can play with them and they can play with me. We don't have that like distance that they have to watch out. They have to look up. So building the Sangha requires a lot of patience and care and attention. In the past few months, when we have meetings, sometimes I don't have to say anything. I just listen. And I see how the Sangha can harmonize our views in a very natural, but in a very, very spontaneous way. This you can learn from the monastic Sangha. So in the meeting, when we have something to discuss, we bring it out and we let everybody to share their ideas, their input. Of course, everybody have our own idea, and we want this to be recognized and this to be passed. But I observe in the Sangha when we have meeting, everybody practice listening and sharing. Once we share our idea out, we practice let go. For example, we have a basketball rim, basketball loop in the courtyard of the sisters. Some of them want to move it out of the courtyard. Some of us want to keep it there because it's convenient for us to play. So when we discuss, I want it to be there so I can get there quick and play with all the sisters. But when I listen to all the sisters, I really understand their need to rest, need to be quiet. So I continue to listen to all the sisters. Everybody speak out about that. I think we spent about half an hour talking about this basketball loop, where to move it. I find that it's not the outcome of that issue, where to move that basketball loop. But I find that the harmony between the sisters, the willingness to let go, and also the willingness to listen to others, so that we can all come up with a consensus. And many people share, and very natural, when that ideas, the last few ideas come up, it sounds like agreeable with everybody else, very natural, we go in that direction. And we don't have somebody else tell us, we have to do this. We don't really see the leader in that meeting telling us that where we have to go and how to do this, how to make this decision. So this is something we can learn from the monastic Sangha when we have discussion or when we have meeting. Let everybody speak. So we all can have a chance to listen to one another. What we practice in the meeting is to make everybody happy, not focus so much about the outcome of what this is the best idea or this is the best from that person or from whatever. But the happiness of being listened to, being heard, it's enough for everybody to let go of their own idea and easily come up with a consensus. And I find that for the last few months in our meetings, it's flowing, and it brings out the energy which is very light and easy for people to express themselves. Like our teacher, he used to say, in the meeting, if you are the elder, maybe you don't need to speak first. Let the younger one speak. Because if we are the leader of the Sangha, or we are the elders, and we bring out our idea, it may be difficult for the younger one to speak differently from our own idea. And this is exactly the issue that many Sangha share. They feel the pressure, they have to agree. But in fact, they have something else. They have their own ideas, but they're not able to express their ideas. And this is a loss. When we are not able to utilize all ideas, then this is a loss. So harmonizing our view is practice of willing to let go of our own ideas by the practice of deep listening. In many meetings, I just listen and I don't have to say anything. And at the end of the meeting, I feel very satisfied. Because together, truly, we can generate this collective energy of insight and know what is the best for the Sangha. And many times I'm very surprised with the younger ones, when they speak. They have certain consideration and depth in their sharing. And they see many different perspectives that I don't see. So when we are together, when we share, we really help each other understand the matter better. So it's not like we have to come up with this consensus because we don't have time. So many times in the past, we try to finish the meeting so that we don't have to bring it out again. And it's not very satisfactory to everybody. So for us, if we need another time to listen, then we have another time. We can wait for a few more days, or maybe 1 or 2 more weeks for people to have more thoughts about it. And next time when we bring it out, everybody feel like they thought about it, they look into it, and they're able to express it. And even though the outcome is not the best as we all hope it can be, but people feel very satisfied. And we're really willing to let go because we are given time to ponder, to consider, and to look into it. And that's how we feel the consensus come very natural and not being forced to come up with this consensus. We also have another practice we call shining light. That's where we receive very constructive criticism, if we call it criticism. But anyway, criticism is not really the right word for us because we don't feel being criticized. But we feel that this is a time for this, like the name of the practice, shining light. We feel this is a time the Sangha shines the light on us, help us to see certain corners that is still dark, that we don't see. And we have to learn how to receive these what do you call input? Yeah, input. If we say that, well, it's a Sangha responsibility to shine light on me, but I transform or not is my own business. If we say something like this, nobody wants to do shining light for us. Yes, we do have people saying that. Like Thay said, we have to open our heart, open our mind to receive this input from the Sangha. It helps us to see ourselves better because we ourselves, we don't see the outer side of ourselves, the inner side of ourselves. And I see that this practice helped me to grow a lot. Of course, when we are young, when we share, it's not that skillful. It can be very hurtful. It can be very hurtful. It can be very painful to hear what is the dark side of yours. But with time, the practice improves, the people improve. We find that it's very rewarding to have this practice. Actually, it's very precious to receive this practice. But I remember many, when we are very young, sometimes we can be very scared. We can be very scared of this practice because we feel that we're not ready to have this operation. Sometimes the scalpel can go very deep, and it's unbearable. So in the lay Sangha, when you have meeting, when you have discussion, you have what you call criticism, which is something which is happen. How do we practice to receive criticism or receive input? People of ancient time, they say the summer day is very long. That's how they learn about history. Because they have time to go through very thick books to learn about history. So today I share with you one story about people of the ancient time, how they practice receiving criticism. It is an emperor from ancient China. It's the Tang dynasty. Đại Đường. They are not royal family. They just a normal people. But because of circumstances, they rise up. And the father have 3 sons. And the middle son, together with the father, they conquer pretty much the rest of the land. And so he became the emperor. The father became the emperor. And he followed the tradition. So the elder son will become the crown prince. And he will become the emperor. But in fact, the middle son is the one who have a lot of merit and achievement. So needless to say, you can feel how dissatisfied he could be. So he killed his 2 brothers, his elder brother and his younger brother. And after killing them, he told the father, I killed them because, they want to revolt. And not after very long time after that, he forced his father to abdicate so he can ascend to become the emperor. So with a history like that, it's not very, very, very much to be praised, right? But when he became an emperor, he used the chief advisor of his elder brother, who devised the whole scheme to kill him, because his elder brothers also want to kill him in order not to be killed later. So he used the advisor of his elder brother to become his advisor, because he knows this is a very, very talented person. He bore no grudge toward this person who laid a trap to kill him. But he used this man because he's a very talented person. And he listened to all the people's ideas, especially good ideas, of how to govern, how to run the country. And the chief advisor, he's a person of a very straightforward character. He would tell to the face, what's wrong and what is not good about the emperor. Usually, you are the emperor, people dare not to say anything to your face. But not the case of this advisor. So he would tell this emperor his shortcoming, so that he can correct himself, he can transform himself. So one particular example, one time he had to go outside to inspect things. And at the end of the day, the food that served him is so bad that does not meet the standard of the emperor's food. And right away he threw his tantrum. He got really, really angry, like fight into a rage. Like everybody was so scared because the next thought they can think of is be killed by the emperor because he was so angry. So the chief advisor told him to the face, don't you see the previous dynasty, the emperor, when they throw their tantrum like that, they lost their kingdom. Don't you learn from the past? You can imagine how angry, how furious the emperor could be. First thing is really bad food to eat is already something that's for him to be angry. Secondly, to be told something like that to the face. He jumped up, almost killed the advisor, because out of his anger. But somehow he stopped himself in the middle. And when he calmed down, he see that this is the truth. The advisor told him the truth. If he want to continue to run the country, to govern the people, he have to control his temper and not to throw tantrum like that, whenever he feel displeased. So this is the emperor Tháng Thái Tông, Đường Thái Tông. And he wrote down all the weaknesses that the chief advisor told him about himself. So that's how he became one of the most favorite emperor, because he really listened to people and he learned to be humble about himself and not to be an emperor. He actually cried when his chief advisor died. He said that people use a mirror to see. People learn history, so that is a mirror for them to learn the past. But for him, he has a human mirror, someone who can tell him his shortcomings, who can criticize him, and not being afraid of him because he is an emperor. It's very rare to have someone as a mirror for him to look at himself. So if we are lucky enough, we have someone to be our mirror, and we have a chance to grow. We have a chance to mature. Otherwise, we keep following, our habit energy. When things that happen is what we want, or we expect people to follow, or we expect that people listen to us all the time and follow and do what we want. So learn to receive input. It will help us to see ourselves in different angles that we cannot see ourselves. And if we are together, we're not able to shine the light on each other. And the Sangha cannot go forward. Because every year we practice this shining light practice. Everybody transform to some extent. Some people can do very fast, some people take some time. But knowing that we have the time and the space, to transform, we feel very safe. And we don't feel being criticized. So in the Sangha, if we feel that everybody feel at ease, they feel that they can speak out, they can share what they think, I think that is a really, really good sign in the Sangha. Because the Sangha will move forward, will go forward with all the good ideas and insights. So it's a sense of renewal in the Sangha. Otherwise, we keep following the same path. There's not much new idea. So I hope the practice of harmonizing our view, learn to listen to ourselves and learn to listen to others, can help the Sangha have this sense of renewal, and that we can go forward as a Sangha. Right now is summer, so after many days of really, really hot weather, we wish that there's a rain. When I was little, in the summer days, I used to hear my mother said, "Mưa đi ông trời, mưa đi." So in my mind, I thought, oh, how come he decide where to rain? Because everywhere people ask for rain. So how does he decide to bring rain? And that question I have, but I don't know how to ask people. But now I understand how it rains. Because in the coastal area, usually we have a lot of woods and forests. And when the rains rain down into the coastal forest, will absorb all the rain, and right away it will turn into vapor. And it become clouds, and it travel further inland. And that's how where inland people can have rain. Sometimes as much as a coastal people area. So the forest have its function, have its job to do. Without the coastal forest, there would be no new vapor and cloud to carry inland, and there will be no rain for the inland. So therefore, the coastal forest is very crucial for this water pump works. So everywhere can get the rain in the hot summer days. So if we cut down the coastal forest, then we may not rain. We may not have rain in the further inland. And I see the Sangha is exactly the same thing. The Sangha have the function. We have the response. We have the mission to bring that Dharma rain to the most inner dry land that's very far to reach. So the Sangha doesn't necessarily to be the monastic Sangha. The lay Sangha can also do this kind of job. Bring the Dharma rain to everywhere, to further, to the many other further areas that the monastic Sangha cannot go. Because as a forest, when we stand together as a forest, we can do this kind of work. Continue bringing the cloud, continue to produce, to make new vapor so that become clouds and it travel inland to become rain. In order for the Sangha to do this kind of work, we have to have that kinds of, we have to have the nourishment in the Sangha in order for the Sangha to do this kind of work. But if we focus too much on doing different things, different projects, but not enough nourishment, and we not be able to do this kind of work for very long. So every summer, people can come here for retreat, but this year is very, very unusual. We cannot receive people. But at least we can do something. It's about sharing the Dharma online with people. So very soon we will have 3 weekend retreat online. We do that kind of work of bringing the Dharma rain to the very dry places so that people can taste the coolness of the rain, the sweetness of the water rain. So we hope that you're able to participate to your normal, regular Sangha schedule of gathering to practice, to generate mindfulness, peace, and solidity in your own Sangha. And when the conditions are sufficient, then we can come together again as a fourfold Sangha to practice. And when we go back, we bring the Dharma rain back to our family, to our community, and to the society. Thank you for listening.